Hi, I'm Jake from Jakeology. Do you like Protists? Do you want to learn about them? Do you want to know them? Then, if so, stick around. Let's get nerdy. Have you ever heard of Protists? If not, that's okay. A lot of people haven't. Think of a small organism.
Think smaller. Nope, smaller. Even smaller. I'm talking about things you can't see without a microscope. I've been looking at these guys, and the jar looks empty. Until you magnify it.
Protists are kind of the weirdos of the world. They're called protists because they don't fit in with other animals. They're not plants, animals, or fungi. They're just the leftovers.
Most protists have certain things in common. Most are unicellular. That means they're only made of one cell. They're found all over the world and can live in fresh or salt water. They will have a nucleus. They also have a lot of differences. Some can move, some can't. Some can make their own food, some can't. Some are so small that you can't see them. Some are giant kelp.
So why don't we have a look at these guys?
These are Euglena. Euglena is a protist that has both plant and animal characteristics. Like plants, they have chloroplasts for making food. That's why they're green. Like animals, they can move. They have a long tail-like structure called a flagellum that it uses to swim. They kind of have a superpower because they can live in fresh and salt water, and they can form a wall around themselves for protection if the environment is too dry. The next protist under the microscope is Paramecium. Paramecium looks like a slipper. Actually, a French guy in the 1700s gave it the name that meant slipper animalcule, and that name stuck around through the 1800s. Paramecium are famous for their method of movement. They have tiny hair-like cells called cilia that beat to cause movement. They also have what's called an oral groove. The cilia in the oral groove beat, not for movement, but to draw in food. It's like a mouth. They feed on bacteria and algae. They'll draw in the bacteria and store it in something called a vacuole hole, which is kind of like a to-go bag. The vacuole holes will move throughout the cell and enzymes break it down. When the food is digested, it poops it out. And now it's time for a pop quiz! Question 1. What disease is caused by a protist? Is it A, malaria, B, influenza, C, a cold, or D, chickenpox? And the answer is malaria. Malaria is caused by 6 species of a protist called Plasmodium. Plasmodium infects a female Anopheles mosquitoes. When those mosquitoes bite into humans, the protist is transferred. 10 to 15 days later, the infected person may have high fever, chills, muscle and abdominal pain, respiratory distress, and convulsions. Over 500,000 people die from malaria every year. Now let's move on to question 2. When were living cells first seen under a microscope? Is it A, 79 BC, B, 1492, C, 1676, or D, 1919? And the answer is 1676. In 1676, a Dutch guy named Anton van Leeuwenhoek was the first person to see and describe microorganisms. He called these tiny creatures animalcules, which means tiny animals. Thanks for playing our pop quiz. Now back to our protists. The next protist is absolutely chaos. No, that's really its name. Chaos is the largest and most well-known species of amoeba. Amoebas feed on bacteria, algae, and other protists. They move by using shape-shifting arms called pseudopods. They also eat using these arms. They surround their food with their pseudopods, completely enclose it, and form a vacuole hole, where it will be digested. This feeding is called phagocytosis. Next, we have blepharisma. It's named after the pigment that gives it its pink color. Like paramecium, they move using cilia, which you can see beating back and forth and back and forth. Like a gremlin, these guys really don't like bright light. If you expose them to a burst of intense light, they'll release a toxin that will cause it to disintegrate. These strange-looking guys are Spirostomum. They are the speed demons of the protists. They have cilia, but they can also quickly contract their bodies and wiggle like a noodle. No, the protists haven't started a band. This trumpet-looking guy is Stentor. He likes to anchor himself somewhere and hold on. His cilia help him swim and also pull food into that gigantic mouth. He's green because he has a symbiotic relationship with algae. The algae feed off the waste of the stentor. Yeah, that's right. They eat the poop. And the algae also provide food for the stentor. And now it's time for a pop quiz. Now let's jump into question 1. What are the hair-like structures that help paramecium move? Is it A, feet, B, cilia, C, flagellum, or D, an appendix? And the answer is cilia. Moving on to question 2. Which protist can make its own food? Is it A, paramecium, B, amoeba, C, euglena, or D, stentor? And the answer is euglena. And now for our third and final question. What is the name of the amoeba's arm-like structure? Is it A, pseudopods, B, flagellum, C, cilia, or D, uvulas? And the answer is pseudopods. That'll wrap up all the time we have for today. Thanks for playing.
I hope you learned a few things about protists. If you liked this video, make sure to like and subscribe. And stay nerdy. Roll the outro.